From New Delhi, you're watching DD India, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lin. Namaskar. Coming up in News Hour. The key conspirator, Tahawwur Rana, is extradited to India. Advocate Narendra Mann will lead the NIA prosecution into this important 2611 case. EU pauses countermeasures as the US President Trump lowers tariffs on multiple nations. India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal hails the 90-day tariff relief for India. US-Russia delegations arrive for talks in Istanbul on diplomatic missions. And President Draupadi Murmu highlights India's commitment to boosting trade ties with Slovakia at a business forum in Bratislava. Well, the National Investigation Agency, the NIA, on Thursday successfully secured the extradition of Tahawwur Rana, the mastermind behind the deadly 2611 Mumbai terror attacks, after years of sustained efforts to bring the key conspirator to justice for his role in the 2008 carnage. Tahawwur Rana was brought to India aboard a special aircraft from the United States, escorted by a team of intelligence and NIA officials. He was finally arrested after undergoing a medical examination at Palam Airport. Rana had been held in judicial custody in the United States under proceedings initiated through the India-US Extradition Treaty. His extradition came after he exhausted all legal avenues to prevent the transfer. Rana is accused of orchestrating the horrific Mumbai terror attacks in 2008. A total of 166 persons were killed and over 238 injured in these deadly attacks. The Indian government has appointed the advocate Narendra Mann as the special public prosecutor for the National Investigation Agency, the NIA, in this 2611 Mumbai terror attack case. Narendra Mann will represent the NIA in the special courts and appellate courts in Delhi. The appointment is made for a period of 3 years or till the completion of the trial, or whichever is earlier. The Israeli ambassador to India, Reuven Azar, has expressed encouragement following the extradition of Tahawwur Rana. He thanked the government of India for its persistence in bringing the terrorist to justice.
We are encouraged to hear about the extradition to India of one of the perpetrators of the terrible and horrendous terrorist attacks that happened in Mumbai on the 26th of November 2008, which took the lives of more than 170 innocent civilians, including Israelis. I would like to thank the government of India for its persistence in bringing the terrorists to justice.
Well, taking a dig at the Congress party, India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal argued that the then government did the job of serving biryani to Ajmal Kasab, who was one of the accused in the 2611 Mumbai attacks. He credited Prime Minister Narendra Modi's resolve to bringing those who attacked the country to justice and to ensure that they get punished on Indian soil.
कांग्रेस सरकार के समय हम जिस होटल में खड़े हैं, यहीं पर आतंकवादियों ने हमला किया था। ये होटल पे लोगों की जान गई थी, लेकिन कांग्रेस की सरकार ने कुछ किया नहीं आरोपियों के ऊपर सख्त सजा दिलाने के लिए, बल्कि जो पकड़ा गया था कसब उसको भी बिरयानी खिलाते थे। आज हर भारतवासी को गर्व है मोदी जी पर, विशेषकर हम सब मुंबईकर कृतज्ञ हैं मोदी जी के कि ऐसे लोग जिन्होंने हमारे देश के ऊपर हिंसक आक्रामक हमला किया था, उनको हम भारत के धरती पर भारत के कानून के अंतर्गत सजा दिलाएंगे।
So who is Tahawwur Rana? What is the case against him? Let's take a look. Tahawwur Rana holds Canadian citizenship and has Pakistani origins. He faces charges in India for his involvement in the 2008 Mumbai attacks and was found guilty in the US for aiding Lashkar-e-Taiba. Rana assisted David Headley, a co-conspirator in the attack, who held US citizenship and Pakistani heritage. Rana provided Headley with false credentials to help him scout targets for the attack. In January this year, the US Supreme Court rejected Tahawwur Rana's petition, and that was quickly followed up by Senator Rubio authorizing Rana's extradition in February. Later on, US President Donald Trump announced the extradition of Tahawwur Rana to India, adding that he would face justice. He made the announcement during a joint press conference with Prime Minister Narendra Modi following their bilateral meeting. Rana's defense filed for more documents on February 13. On February 19, the court denied his request to delay the extradition. Again, the Ninth Circuit rejected his appeal on February 21. Rana filed an emergency request with the US Supreme Court within a week, which was also rejected on March 5, 2025. And on April 7, the US Supreme Court again rejected his plea for a stay on his extradition to India. And we are privileged to have with us Colonel Artisan Singh, Strategic and Security Affairs expert, former RAW officer. Thank you, sir, for being with us. Now, this is a big diplomatic victory for India, isn't it? But it's important that justice needs to be done and also seen to be done. So let me just ask you, what are the proven links that Rana has with LET?
See, today I just read a comment by the former Home Secretary, Mr. Pillai, about comparing Rana and Headley. And he lamented the fact that, India has not been able to get Headley. Well, Headley was a typical double agent. Everybody knows about it. But if you ask me my personal opinion, Rana is more critical to this whole, 26/11 maritime terrorist attack on India.
Yes.
Because remember, he was the one who helped him, to establish a front office in Mumbai. He was the one who initially carried out reconnaissance of the targets. He was the one who he scouted for targets all over the country. He also had designated the National Defence College of Delhi as one of the targets. He was the man. He's someone who has served in the Pakistan Army, and then he was linked to Lashkar-e-Taiba. He is a part of the global terror network because he and Headley together they had planned an attack on a Danish newspaper.
Yes, yes.
So, to that extent, he's a global terrorist. Now,
Yes.
Why he's so important is that, this entire maritime jihadi terrorist attack on Mumbai has two components. That is the Pakistani component, the perpetrators, and the Indian component, and that is the proxies. So what I'm more interested is, of course, he will, as far as punishment is concerned, he will get his due, he will meet his nemesis. But I am more interested to know this entire, who all facilitated this, this attack within India. And we have an idea about that. We know that what was the objective of that terrorist attack. I asked everybody, tell me what was the objective of the attack. Of course, the objective of the attack was to create Hindu terror. Okay. So it was done for political considerations to help a particular segment, a particular political segment in India. So that is why, he needs to be interrogated over a length of time. And
Indeed.
there, I mean, his security is of prime concern.
Sure.
Because we don't want anything to happen, before he unravels the entire, affair. A conspiracy which has very few parallels in human history.
Indeed, you've laid it out quite clear for us. Now, how, will he... he's going to be tried by a special NIA court. How do you see this proceeding? You first say that a lot of interrogation has to take place for the case to be built up.
No, see, one is this, one part of the interrogation is that as I said, that what was this entire plot? That has to be unraveled, and the other is the legal part of it. So the legal part, of course, I mean, based on the laws that India has, he will be tried.
Yes.
Evidence will be produced in the court, and we have what should I say, a very, very open system as far as judiciary is concerned.
True.
He has been given freedom to choose a lawyer, and there is somebody, I'm told, that he has agreed to plead on his behalf. So we have all the credentials of a vibrant democracy.
Indeed.
Which is not there in Pakistan. So, but the fact is that he is a terrorist. We are not here, I'm not here to
provide a
exult on somebody's, somebody's whatever, I mean, punishment. But yes, he will meet his nemesis. But before that, I want him, I mean, every Indian expects that he unravels the entire plot as to how this entire thing was planned.
So
and executed.
you're an expert on how to get all that information, but let's not talk too much about that for the moment. But Pakistan claims that he's a Canadian citizen. And does that change the fact that he was acting on behalf of the Pakistani state, his relationship with David Coleman Headley and the like, and the Pakistani state and non-state actors?
Now, that is something, I mean, which should actually, which the Western, I mean, the Canadians and the Americans should be worried about. Okay. As to how many Pakistanis of jihadi inclination are there in the countries who are part of the global jihad. 2009, they had planned an attack, as I told you, on that Danish newspaper, and that is how, they were apprehended. The Tahawwur Rana is just not one of them, and there would be many in Canada and America. So the strings of jihadi terrorism, it goes right. It goes right from Pakistan up to Canada and United States of America. Okay. So that is why the current dispensation in USA is worried about.
Okay, and David Headley, sir, is in a US prison. He's worked out a cooperation agreement with the US authorities. So, I mean, how best can India actually cooperate with the US to provide the evidence needed by the prosecution?
There is, you see, as far as David Headley is concerned, if you allow me to say, there are, we all agree that there is a dirty world of intelligence agencies, and he was. We all know that he was a double agent, and the Americans are very. There is absolutely no doubt about it that the CIA would be, or the FBI would be very keen to protect him, and this is a fact. I mean, we cannot run away from these facts. Sure. This is the reality. But Tahawwur Rana is definitely a more prize catch than David Headley, I would say.
Okay, we'll leave it for the moment. Thank you very much, Colonel Arasan Singh. Thank you for joining us and throwing light on this story for the moment. Joining me also is our correspondent Amritpal Singh, who is in New Delhi, following the story. Amrit, this is being seen first as a diplomatic victory, but under what terms, has Rana been extradited to India?
Well, Rana has been extradited because there was a case that India says that he needs trial for the 2611 attacks. He's been booked under various sections of the then IPC because in the charge sheet presented by the NIA in 2011, he has been charged for under UAPA for a murder, for waging war against the nation. So essentially, India argued in the US courts that there is a case for extradition because there is an extradition non-proliferation treaty that exists between India and the United States, that he's wanted for acts of terror in India, for plotting and executing those acts of terror in India. And he's a key conspirator in that, and he needs to be tried in India and brought to justice. And it was under this plea that both the US administration agreed to. He went to the courts to stall his extradition, but the courts saw merit in India's argument and finally cleared the decks for him to be extradited to India, Mark.
Also, he's a high security prisoner, and this is a very high profile case. So in that sense, what kind of security has been provided for him?
Well, right now he's been brought and he's at the Palam airport. Once he leaves, he'll be there will be commandos of both of the Delhi police and the CRPF that have been assigned to him. He'll be kept in a very secured location while during in police custody. In all probability, his interrogation will take place at the NIA headquarters itself, which has been secured. All roads leading to the NIA headquarters have been completely cordoned off with barricades, with huge police and commando presence there. Anyway, it's a very secure building, and of course there are the intelligence agencies would be doing their work to see that if because he could be under threat from sleeper cells of Lashkar-e-Taiba or other terrorist organizations operating from Pakistan who might want to eliminate him so that he doesn't spill more beans than what the Indian investigators already know, because he is unlike Kasab. He is fairly high placed in the pecking order and could have been in touch with the ISI, but surely with the Lashkar-e-Taiba, on which he has been convicted in the US courts, and which is India's case too. So he could, unravel. So, Amrit,
are there multiple cases?
How 2611 was planned.
Sure. Are there will there be multiple cases against him, or just one which will be heard in Delhi, or is he also going to be heard? There are cases against him which will be held in Mumbai, and just tell us a little bit about what we can expect over the next few years.
Okay, that's an interesting question. Now, first about, are there multiple cases? Yes, there are multiple charges. The case is one, the 2611 case. The NIA in 2009 had filed 4 FIRs, RC 201, RC 202, RC 203 and RC 204. He has been charged under various sections, as I told you, for waging war against the state, for murder, for under UAPA. So there are multiple charges of the law against him. In the charge sheet, it very clearly mentions he, along with 8 others, out of which 7 are Pakistani nationals. One is David Coleman Headley, so 2 non-Pakistani nationals, American and Canadian. 7 Pakistani nationals, including Mohammad Hafiz Saeed, Zakiur Rahman Lakwi, Sajid Mir, Major Samir, Major Iqbal of the ISI, and another gentleman called Hashim, Abdul Rahman Hashim. So there are other conspirators in the case who are right now in Pakistan. Now where will the case be tried? Right now, NIA is the premier investigating agency, so it will be tried in the Delhi court. There is a possibility that because there is a case open in the Mumbai court also, where Kasab was tried, because the crime happened in the jurisdiction of Mumbai police. So technically, Mumbai police can ask for his custody, but I don't think in this particular case it will, because even if the crime happens in your jurisdiction, if it has national implications, it can be transferred to federal agencies like the CBI or the NIA, in this case the NIA. So yes, there could be cooperation happening between the Mumbai police and the NIA, but I think the case will primarily move in the Delhi court, in the NIA anti-terror court. Mark.
So as Colonel R.S.N. Singh was saying that there is the entire plot has to be unearthed from him through interrogation. What can we expect, about this interrogation? You say it's going to be taking place at the NIA headquarters. What period of time, what time framework are we talking about about this interrogation?
under the new law, they have to finish the case, they have to conclude the investigation in 3 years. But given that it's such a high-profile case and they already have a lot of pieces in place, as in the NIA charge sheet is pretty exhaustive, they broadly know the story. They may get to know some things that they already do not know, as in the level of involvement, say, of the ISI, or the collaboration between the ISI and the Lashkar-e-Taiba, or was Lashkar-e-Taiba cooperating with some local support here in Mumbai? Was it just Mumbai, or were the plans bigger, to carry out such attacks in other cities? These are information that can be attracted to him. If the NIA feels that there is much more evidence that they have been able to bring to the table, they may file an additional charge sheet. They've already filed charge sheet in 2011. If they feel the need for, they could file additional charge sheets against him. But essentially, I think what he will unravel is that how and when was the plan first hatched. Right. What is the level of involvement? The investigators have phone intercepts about a control room being set in Karachi, in which the Major Samir and Major Iqbal were there. So what was the level of institutional involvement of Pakistan? He could unravel. What was the money trail like? Was it Lashkar-e-Taiba's money, or did ISI pump in that money? Mark.
Okay, we leave it there. Thank you very much, Amritpal Singh, for putting things into context for us for the moment. Now, moving on to our next story. In a sharp policy shift, US President Donald Trump has paused new tariffs for 90 days, but he's hiked duties on Chinese imports to 125%. China hit back with 84% levies. Now, global leaders see hope for talks, but experts warn of rising risks. Let's look at this report.
In a dramatic policy reversal, US President Donald Trump has hit pause on new tariffs for 90 days. But not without a punch. Tariffs on Chinese imports are shooting up immediately to a staggering 125%. Meanwhile, the baseline 10% tariffs on most other countries introduced on April 5 will remain during the 90-day pause.
I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate. China wants to make a deal. They just don't know how quite to go about it. You know, it's one of those things they don't know how quite. They're proud people. And President Xi's a proud man. I know him very well, and they don't know quite how to go about it.
China wasted no time in retaliating, announcing an 84% levy on US goods starting April 10.
In a trade war with the United States, the US will definitely not be able to defeat China. China's manufacturing is well-rounded. Moreover, Trump seems to be making enemies all over the world.
The US has started to increase tariffs again, but China is not afraid and will respond.
In Hong Kong, residents voiced worry that tensions might spiral beyond reason.
When they increased the tariff to 54%, it was already very detrimental. Increasing it further is totally useless.
I suspect it will eventually end up being a compromise, because otherwise it's just going to be ridiculous. The amount of trade that's going to lose out, the amount of people they're going to lose.
Despite the pause, tariffs on Canadian and Mexican goods set at 25% are still firmly in place. Still, world leaders from Europe, Japan and Vietnam are calling this an opportunity for dialogue.
Nobody wins a trade war. Everybody loses. For this, the measure announced by the US administration, pending review of the exact details, seems like an open door for negotiation and as such to an agreement between countries.
I think we'll have time, as we would have to queue up like many other countries for negotiations. So we will make sure that we tighten up our plans to make them better, and we have plans to negotiate on every front.
But the threat of economic fallout remains. Experts warn of job losses, unrest and possible recession across Asia.
Massive unemployment because of this policy, because of the tariffs, then I think it's a real possibility. But it also depends on how the government responds.
Trump's pause excludes earlier tariffs like the 25% duties on steel, aluminium, and autos, already shaking markets. As the world holds its breath, all eyes are on what the next 90 days will bring. Tripti Tripathi for DD India.
Well, the European Union has decided to temporarily halt its initial countermeasures against the U.S. tariffs following President Trump's decision to reduce the steep duties that he had recently imposed on several countries. And during a press conference, the EU spokesperson Olaf Gill mentioned that while specific details about this 90-day suspension of countermeasures are not disclosed, the EU remains open to negotiate with the Trump administration.
We are not going to offer any greater detail at this point about what we are or are not saying to the Americans beyond what we have already said. We want to negotiate. We want to talk. We appreciate that you have brought this pause on so-called reciprocal tariffs, and we in turn are now pausing our proposed countermeasures in order that we have the maximum space to consult with our member states, consult with our industry, and negotiate with the US. We're ready to make deals. Let's talk.
India's Minister for Commerce and Industry, Piyush Goyal, he has welcomed this decision of the United States and this is to give the 90-day relief on tariffs to India.
भारत तो बहुत समझदारी से इस पूरे विषय को पहले से संभाल रही है। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी और प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप ने फरवरी में ही निर्णय ले लिया था कि हम आपसी संबंध बढ़ाते हुए बायलैटरल ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट एक ऐसा करार करेंगे जो भारत और यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स के बीच व्यापार को सरल भी करेगा, 500 बिलियन तक यानी आज से 2.5 गुना बढ़ाने का काम भी करेगा। देशवासियों को नौकरी के और अधिक साधन मिलेंगे, देश की अर्थव्यवस्था को और बल मिलेगा। तो मैं समझता हूँ भारत तो वैसे भी इस रेस में आगे था और हमारी बातचीत बहुत अच्छी प्रोग्रेस की।
The US President Donald Trump on Wednesday reiterated his threat to use military force if Iran does not agree to a nuclear deal. Now, President Trump's statement, it came just days ahead of the reported talks between the two countries. Talking to reporters, President Trump added that Israel would be the leader of a military option.
But with Iran, if it requires military, we're going to have military. Israel will obviously be very much involved in that. He'll be the leader of that. But nobody leads us. We do what we want to do.
That's because when the election was rigged, I figured they'd get the weapon because...
India's President Draupadi Murmu has been conferred with the doctorate honoris causa degree by Constantine the Philosopher University, Nitra, in Slovakia. And President Murmu was recognized for her distinguished career in public service and governance, advocacy for social justice and inclusion, and contribution towards education, empowerment of women, and also preservation and promotion of cultural and linguistic diversity. The President also addressed the gathering. She said that India has placed education at the heart of its policies. President Draupadi Murmu, on day 2 of her visit to Slovakia, in fact, she interacted with Slovak children at a painting exhibition which was inspired by Indian themes and stories. She also saw a Ramayan puppet show in Bratislava. DD India's Jayanti Jha has more.
The growing friendship between India and Slovakia can be seen in various dimensions like trade, diplomacy, and sustainable development, and their historical links can be seen embodied in the cultural influence that India has in Slovakia. President Draupadi Murmu witnessed the influence of Indian heritage and tradition in Slovakia as she saw paintings by Slovak children depicting Indian themes.
People love Indian culture a lot in Slovakia. We have been embassy and there's a Slov-India friendship group. We have been organizing this painting competition, and we give them, fables from Panchatantra and other Indian, stories and festivals. And based on that, they bring out their creativity. And you have seen how beautiful paintings they have made.
The 10th edition of the painting competition, Beauty Hidden in Fairy Tales, India through the eyes of Slovak children, saw participation of 700 children from all over Slovakia.
Every year we translate some few Indian fairy tales, 2-3, and then children from whole Slovakia are involved to welcome, to paint on the base of Indian fairy tales.
This is my painting. It's my interpretation of the fable of Kalidasa and the goddess Saraswati, and it's supposed to show how people are often much deeper than they look or than where their origin is from, and we shouldn't make assumptions just based on outside characteristics, because obviously people are much deeper than just what they look like. I painted Gandhi, this picture right here. In the back we have like people also, which is meant to show that how much he helped others and how much he tried to help those in need.
This story also shows that you don't need to be rich, powerful or strong, but what really matters is having a kind heart, and I believe that doing good things for others.
President Murmu's historic visit to Slovakia has highlighted an important aspect of the India-Slovak friendship, the close cultural ties shared between the two nations. You can see the Indian influence in Slovakia in their stories, in their art, in their spirituality and in their people. This opens the door for future people-to-people ties between the two nations. With camera person Loknath reporting from Bratislava for DD India, this is Jayanti Jha.
What's still to come here on DD India News Hour? We look at the implications of India withdrawing the transshipment facility extended to Bangladesh. In Sri Lanka, the first fully automated terminal of the Colombo port has commenced operations.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked, we just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Let's take a look now at the implication of India withdrawing the transshipment facility which was extended to Bangladesh. Now, Indian authorities clarified that these measures do not impact Bangladeshi exports to Nepal or Bhutan, transiting through Indian territory.
India has withdrawn the transshipment facility extended to Bangladesh. Effective April 8, 2025, Bangladesh can no longer send shipments to third countries using Indian ports and airports. However, an exception has been made for Nepal and Bhutan. MEA spokesperson Ranveer Jaiswal said that logistical delays and rising costs were affecting India's own exports and creating backlogs.
The transshipment facility extended to Bangladesh had over a period of time resulted in significant congestion at our airports and ports. Logistical delays and higher costs were hindering our own exports and creating backlogs. The facility, therefore, has been withdrawn with effect from 8th April 2025. And let me clarify here, I saw some reports. These measures do not impact Bangladesh's exports to Nepal and Bhutan transiting through Indian territory.
Petrapul border of India, the land port with Bangladesh in North 24 Parganas district of eastern Indian state of West Bengal started witnessing deserted look from 10th April itself.
तो अभी बांग्लादेश का अगर ट्रांजिट का सुविधा बंद हो जाएगा तो हमारा इंडिया का जो एक्सपोर्टर है वो सटीक भाड़ा में और उसका जो एग्जैक्ट टाइम है वो टाइम में वो एक्सपोर्ट कर पाएंगे.
Let's now tell you about the transshipment facility. The 2020 order by Indian Customs Department allowed Bangladesh to export goods to third countries via the Delhi Air Cargo Complex. This gave Bangladeshi exporters easier access to countries in the neighborhood like Nepal, Bhutan and Myanmar. However, it led to greater congestion at the cargo terminal at the Indira Gandhi International Airport in Delhi, delaying shipments of Indian goods and leading to a rise in air freight rates for Indian exporters. With Prasenjit Bakshi in Kolkata, Bureau Report, DD India.
Ambassador Dilip Sinha, former senior diplomat, joins us and he will help us understand the story a little more. Ambassador Sinha, you know, in allowing the transshipments to the landlocked Bhutan and Nepal, what was India doing? I mean, are there, you know, obligations for that, or is it just honoring the neighborhood first policy?
It is essentially a matter of honoring our neighborhood first policy and also a general commitment that we have both towards Nepal and Bhutan to enable them to maintain their connectivity not only to the sea, because these two are landlocked countries, but also to enable them to use Bangladesh for their exports in case they wish to use the Bangladesh route. So it is essentially in the spirit of the South Asian camaraderie that we feel that Nepal and Bhutan should be excluded from this restriction that we have placed on Bangladesh to use transshipment facilities through India.
And how stunted has Bangladesh's access now become to international markets as a result of India ending this transshipping route?
I suspect that it will affect Bangladesh's exports considerably because Bangladesh's own connectivity to the rest of the world is limited because of its port facilities and flight difficulties, which is why Bangladesh had started using facilities, air cargo facilities and port facilities in India, using the land route to promote connectivity and promote its exports. Most of Bangladesh's exports go to the Western countries, to the US, which is the largest market, and then there's West Europe, and garment is the most important export for Bangladesh. So it certainly reduced transport costs for Bangladesh to be able to use transport facilities through India. But as mentioned by our spokesman, the congestions that were being caused in Indian airports and ports were a factor. But I think it is also a reaction to what Chief Advisor Yunus had to say about Bangladesh's policy towards India's northeastern states when he was in China. That has also impacted this decision.
Indeed, and Bangladesh, you know, lacks direct land connectivity with China. So surely it understands that it has limited geographical opportunities other than India. And why was Advisor Yunus, you know, what is he expecting from China?
Well, what he told China was that China could use manufacturing facilities could invest in Bangladesh. And he said that if China used Bangladesh as a base, then it would find the northeastern states of India a kind of a captive market, because the northeastern states, according to Yunus, are landlocked, and Bangladesh is the only access to the ocean for these states. Therefore, China could use Bangladesh as a base to export to India's northeast. And he also talked about, and there are reports about China getting air and military bases in Bangladesh. So these two factors clearly irritate India because it enables Bangladesh to project itself as a base for Chinese interests, which will compromise our economic and security interests.
Indeed, you know, the buyers too, from what I've read, they have been looking for the Indian route for Bangladesh products because it's cheaper for them to import. Now, other routes become costly for them. Bangladesh should understand that. Also, Bangladesh would need to develop better air and sea infrastructure within their own country rather fast, and that's not possible. Do you see they're hoping that China would invest in something like that, but that could lead them to a Chinese debt trap? I mean, I'm just throwing some ideas here.
Well, that is in the nature of China's economic relations with countries. China's economic practices, its debt practices are extremely predatory, and Chinese loans lead to a debt trap. This means far too commonly seen in various countries of Asia and Africa. So Bangladesh cannot possibly be an exception to it. Bangladesh was able to use the connectivity provided by its larger neighbor India to promote its exports, as I said, to the Western countries. And a number of major companies that were sourcing their products, especially garments from Bangladesh, found the transport connectivity of India to be easier and better for them to import goods from Bangladesh. Now, for some reason, Bangladesh, especially the present government, has chosen to lean towards China. Now, as you know, under Sheikh Hasina, under the previous government, Bangladesh's relations with India had improved considerably, and India had offered all these facilities in the interest of promoting both bilateral relations and Bangladesh's own development, which led to a sharp increase in Bangladesh's per capita income. But the present government has chosen in its own domestic political considerations and other factors to forego those facilities and to try lean towards China in this, which will harm not only India-Bangladesh relations, but also the economy of Bangladesh itself. Bangladesh has already turned towards the IMF for further tranches of its 4.7 billion loan that was agreed to 2 years ago, and that not only that those IMF loans will continue, but also Bangladesh will possibly find itself borrowing from China, because any Chinese projects in Bangladesh that Bangladesh wishes to have will all be in the form of loans, which are very difficult to repay.
We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Ambassador Dilip Sinha. Thank you for throwing light on this story for us. Moving on to our next story then. In Sri Lanka, the first fully automated terminal at the Colombo port has commenced operations, making a major milestone in South Asia's maritime infrastructure. The Colombo West International Terminal, CWIT, is developed through a public-private partnership, and it's expected, in fact, to ease port congestion and enhance Sri Lanka's role as a key regional transshipment hub.
This week marks a new chapter in maritime logistics as the Colombo West International Terminal, or CWIT, officially commenced commercial operations. Developed under a 35-year build, operate and transfer agreement at a project cost of $800 million, CWIT is a joint venture between India's Adani Ports and SEZ Limited, Sri Lanka's John Keel's Holdings and Sri Lanka Ports Authority. They have together built Sri Lanka's largest and deepest container terminal, setting the stage for Colombo Port to become South Asia's top maritime hub. With a 1,400-meter quay and a 20-meter draft, CWIT can handle ultra-large container vessels carrying up to 24,020 feet equivalent units. It also leads the region in innovation and sustainability thanks to fully automated cranes and 100% electric terminal vehicles. In a male-dominated industry, CWIT stands out, with women making up 20% of its workforce. With a projected annual capacity of over 3.2 million TEUs, CWIT is poised to lift Colombo Port into the global top 20 and enhance its already strong shipping connectivity. With cutting-edge automation, unmatched depth and a vision built for the future, Colombo West International Terminal isn't just a port, it's a milestone in regional connectivity and global trade. Ahmed Moin Faruqi, DD India, Colombo.
Well, updates now from South Korea, where the opposition leader Lee Jae-myung, he has decided that he's going to contest in the June 3rd presidential election. Lee Jae-myung is in fact the front-runner in the opinion polls to be the country's next leader. The elections will be held after the former President Yoon Suk-yeol had been impeached, stemming from a December martial law declaration which was upheld in April. Now, Lee had lost by the slimmest of margins, one would think, in the country's history when he ran against Yoon in the 2022 presidential election. But last year, he led his Liberal Democratic Party to a landslide victory in the parliamentary election. He seems to enjoy strong support from Liberal voters.
I want to build a real Republic of Korea, not just a country that only carries the name Republic of Korea, but a real Republic of Korea. And it is created by people of the Republic of Korea. I hope to become a great tool, the best tool of our people of the Republic of Korea.
India's Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, Nirmala Sitharaman, is in Vienna. She arrived there from the United Kingdom. Upon her arrival, she was received by the Ambassador of India to Austria. And during her visit to Austria, Minister Sitharaman is going to hold bilateral meetings with senior Austrian government officials. Let's take a look now at other stories making the news. Security forces are carrying out search operations in northern Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. This is after an encounter with terrorists on Wednesday. Officials say 2 to 3 terrorists are hiding in the dense forest of Udhampur village. Despite tough terrain, forces remain alert and determined to ensure civilian safety. After a week of scorching heat, the Delhi NCR region got some respite after the sky turned cloudy, accompanied by thunder showers and light rainfall. This is the weather turning pleasant, a little bit at least. According to the India Meteorological Department, this change in weather is linked to western disturbances impacting the northwestern plains. Meanwhile, other regions in the country have witnessed a sudden change in weather as well and experienced heavy rainfall. Incessant heavy rainfall for over 4 hours disrupted life in northern Indian state of Uttarakhand. Despite the severity of the situation, no reports of loss of life or property have been received so far. Authorities are monitoring the situation as the heavy rain continues to affect several areas of the district. In a significant healthcare push, Ayushman cards under the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana scheme, they were in fact distributed to beneficiaries in Delhi following an MOU which was signed between the NCT, that's the National Capital Territory of Delhi government, and the Union Health Ministry. The Union Health Minister JP Nadda and the Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta jointly handed out the cards to the beneficiaries for Delhi. 1,749 crore rupees has been approved under the PMABHIM to establish 1,139 urban AAMs, strengthen 11 public health labs and build 9 critical care blocks. The Anandpur Dham in Madhya Pradesh, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to be visiting on Friday, is a major center of religion and spirituality. This dham has been specially decorated for the Prime Minister's visit. What is special about it? Take a look at this report from Aditya Srivastav.
We are at Anandpur Dham. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit this place on Friday. In line with his commitment to carry forward India's culture and spiritual heritage, the Prime Minister will visit Anandpur Dham in Isagar Tehsil in Ashoknagar district of Madhya Pradesh. During this time, he will visit and worship at Guruji's Maharaj temple. The Prime Minister will also visit the temple complex at Anandpur Dham. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also visit the 4 temples located in the Sri Anandpur Satsang Ashram complex. He will address the flowers of his dham from India and abroad in the annual fair organized on Vaisakhi in a stage program in the huge Satsang hall. You can see this temple. In this temple, one picture of third Patshahi of this ashram. The Samadhi is also here in this temple. But behind this temple, you can see a 2 temple also. There are fourth and fifth Patshahi Samadhi still are there. So this place is very important for not only the people of India but also abroad. Prime Minister visit is very important at this place. With camera person Gaurav Nirudkar, Aditya Srivastav, DD India, Anandpur Dham, Ashoknagar.
Time now for the sports news. And let's begin with the International Olympic Committee on Wednesday saying that its executive board had approved the event and athlete quotas for the Los Angeles 2028 Olympic Games and 22 more medal events compared to Paris 2024, where they were included in the Games. Let's look at this report.
The International Olympic Committee on Wednesday approved the competition program for the LA Games, making significant changes in their event program from the Olympic Games Paris 2024, while adding new events and increase in athletes' quota. The LA 28 schedule includes the Olympic debuts of the 50-meter backstroke, breaststroke and butterfly for both men and women in swimming. LA 28 also expands mixed events in archery, table tennis, golf, gymnastics, rowing coastal beach sprint, and athletics, which will have 4 x 100-meter mixed relay in addition to 4 x 400. Compound archery has been added in mixed team, which joins 5 existing recurve events, bringing the total number of archery medals available to 6. Indian compound archers have frequently won medals at the World Cups and World Championships. At the Hangzhou Asian Games, India had a clean sweep of gold medals in compound archery. Cricket at the LA 2028 Olympic Games will feature 6 teams, each in the men's and women's tournaments. The additions are part of a broader push by the IOC to modernize the Olympics and attract new audiences. The LA Games have articulated a priority in gender equality. For the first time in Olympic history, the number of female athlete quota spots, which is 5,655, will surpass the male quota spots, which is 5,543. All team sports will have at least the number of women's teams as men's teams, which is the first time in the Olympic history. The landmark announcement saw the women's football tournament expanded to 16 teams from 12, while the men's competition would shrink from 16 to 12. The IOC said the reason for the sharp increase in women's soccer teams was the rapidly growing popularity of women's team sports, especially in the United States. A total of 351 medal events are in the LA 28 program, and the athlete quota is 10,500, with an extra 698 quota places allocated for 5 sports, that is baseball, cricket, flag football, lacrosse and squash. Sports Desk, DD India.
Well, South Africa's Test captain Themba Bavuma suffered an elbow injury, which has prevented him from taking part in the domestic first-class final. Bavuma was scheduled to join the Lions squad from Cape Town on Tuesday, but he failed to arrive in Johannesburg for the final. The Lions discovered late on Wednesday that Bavuma could not be playing in the match because of an elbow injury, and the Lions are now unaware of the extent of the nature of this injury. Bavuma's latest injury has come 2 months before the World Test Championship final in June against the defending champions Australia. MS Dhoni is set to captain Chennai Super Kings in the Indian Premier League 2025 season after the skipper Ruturaj Gaikwad was ruled out due to injury. Gaikwad had suffered a blow to his right forearm during the Super Kings' defeat against Rajasthan Royals on Sunday. Gaikwad suffered an elbow fracture and has been ruled out for the rest of the season, starting with CSK's match on Friday against Kolkata Knight Riders. The injury is a major setback for the 5-time winners of this event, who have lost 4 of their last 5 matches and sit 9th now in the standings. With Gaikwad out, they lose a key figure in an already misfiring top order. Notably, he has been CSK's leading run scorer in 3 of the last 4 seasons. The 43-year-old MS Dhoni will take charge as CSK's skipper, reclaiming a role that he held for a majority of the franchise's storied history. Bangladesh commenced their ICC Women's Cricket World Cup Qualifier 2025 journey in style, securing a decisive 178-run victory over Thailand. The captain Nigar Sultana Joti, she had spearheaded the effort with an impressive century, while the bowlers Fahima Khatun and Janatul Ferdous, they excelled as well with the ball, taking 5 wickets each. With this dominating win, Bangladesh has moved to the top of the qualifier standings with 2 points and a strong net run rate. Bangladesh will next challenge Ireland in the day-night fixture on Sunday at the Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore. That's all we have in this DD India News Hour. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can contact us through our social media handles, and you can also get all the updates from India and across the world on our mobile app, which is available on Android and iOS, and you can scan it by scanning the QR code on the screen right now. We'll also be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Markle, and from all of us here in Delhi, thank you for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.